Welcome to RANsquawk morning briefing for Monday the 14th of September 2009. Just heading through now 9 o'clock in London, so a quick recap of the overnight and weekend press. Starting off with a thing that happened late Friday, has carried on over the weekend and has got coverage this morning. It's in regards to the US and China, as a full-blown trade row has erupted last night between US and China after Beijing has accused Washington of rampant protectionism in regards to imposing heavy duties on imported Chinese tyres and threatened action against imports of US poultry and vehicles. The news comes as trade relations between the two of the world's biggest economies deteriorated after Barack Obama, the US president, signed an order late on Friday to impose a new duty of 35% on Chinese tyre imports on top of the existing 4% tariff. So at the moment, or overnight in particular, did see the yen strengthen on that news across the board, and dollar yen did touch a 7-month low down at 91.20. However, it has recouped some of those losses as we head up, as mentioned, through 9 o'clock now in London. But again, that might well get some further attention when the US come in later, so worth keeping an eye on again in regards to trade rounds between the US and China. Looking elsewhere in Asia, former Japanese Finance Minister Fuji, who is tipped to be reappointed to the position again, said on Sunday he did not rule out the possibility of issuing more government bonds to support the economy. Elsewhere, in terms of the US, worth noting that Chicago-based Chorus Bank shares was seized by the FDIC late on Friday night, as after its capital was wiped out by losses on its $4 billion loan portfolio, according to the Sunday Times. Elsewhere in Europe, the IMF chief says the global economic crisis is not over yet, despite positive signals from Europe's biggest economies. In terms of geopolitical news, ongoing after that proposal was handed over by Iran to Western powers last week. According to the latest reports, Iran will not negotiate on its nuclear rights, according to President Ahmadinejad on Sunday. And take a look in terms of commodities, WTI crude futures, we're currently trading a slight negative at the moment, down it's around 50 cents or so, it's around 68.60 last. That's predominantly weighed by a stronger dollar, which was up as much as 0.4% into the European Open. Also, just noting a couple of OPEC-related comments, the core Gulf Arab OPEC states, Saudi and Kuwait, are delivering 98% of crude output cuts they've pledged under OPEC deals, according to the Kuwaiti oil minister, at 98%. Slightly more than the overall OPEC total of just 68% compliance in the month of August. And earning elsewhere, Venezuela, the state oil company, says it's evaluating a major natural gas deposit that is expected to contain some of the largest reserves in the world, according to AP Newswire. Taking a look in the UK, on the housing front, out of the Times, house prices will not return to the peak reached in the autumn of 07 for at least another 5 years. That's according to Ernst & Young's Item Club. The influential group's gloomy forecast contradicts the increasingly optimistic outlook of the government and of some market commentators that the British economy may be on the recovery. And looking elsewhere, forthcoming for the week, we'll have jobless numbers for the UK economy. According to the Sunday Times, jobless total is to hit 2.5 million this week. The Chartered Institute of Personnel and Development is also to warn that Britain could face a job loss recovery, in which redundancies continue to rise even as economy grows. Also, as well, the UK economy is on the road to recovery, as according to Gordon Brown, who is set to tell that to trade union leaders on Tuesday, according to texts already being released by the PM's office. However, the Trade Union Congress did say on Sunday that Britain faces a double-dip recession if high government debt is tackled too soon via spending cuts. In terms of the equity markets, so far we opened up in UK and Europe slightly lower following the losses that were seen on the Nikkei, which did finish down 2.3%, chiefly weighed by that stronger yen we've already mentioned, which did weigh on the likes of exporters such as Honda Motor. In turn then, at the moment we're down around 0.5 to 0.8% across the FTSE, CAC and DAX. Basic materials and financials are the biggest sector decliners this morning. In particular, a couple of stories that are worth taking note of. Firstly, for Deutsche Telekom, according to Sunday Telegraph, they're mulling over a potential bid for US company Sprint Nextel. Deutsche Telekom seen down around 2% at the open, whereas Sprint Nextel in German floor trade are seen up around 15%, so worth keeping an eye on them. They'll probably be one of the biggest movers today in the US. Elsewhere as well, Repsol are seeing some good gains after the company who, joint with Eni, have found an estimated 7 to 8 trillion cubic feet of gas in Venezuela. In other news, FedEx, Barron's writes that the company's profit picture will likely improve further, and it should drive the stock still higher. And elsewhere, for Cadbury's ongoing, their chairman saying over the weekend that Kraft undervalued his company in a takeover offer last week, and he dismissed the suitor as a low-growth conglomerate, as according to the Man on Sunday, and also from a note this morning. So take a look then for the rest of today's schedule. It is pretty quiet in terms of economic releases to get the week started. At 10 o'clock, we'll see Eurozone employment, industrial production numbers alongside the interim economic forecast from the European Commission. We'll then also look out at 1:30 for Canadian capacity utilisation rate. No major data though from the US. Speaker-wise this afternoon, Fed's Duke, Fed's Lacker, Bank of England executive Haldane due at 6 o'clock London time this evening, with Fed's Yellen due just before the US market close. And in terms of fixed income in Europe, we'll have 2 to 3 billion euros worth of a 2014 BTP tap. That'll be at 10 o'clock, followed by a mini tender later on from the Bank of England, and the first of the week's reverse auctions from the BOE, usual time 2:45 to 3 o'clock for those results.